You know, I understand. No, yeah, no, for sure, you did help me feel a bit better. We all have stuff that we battle every day, and we all are just people trying our best, you know? All of us are just doing the best we can, and that's all you can do. If anyone needs to hear this, you're doing a good job, okay? I promise. You're doing a good job. Sometimes life is hard for many of us, and life can throw unexpected things at you, especially when you're at your lowest, and it can hurt even more. You know, and it's not easy. You know, sometimes I think we all wish that we sometimes I think we all wish that we could just have a pause button on life, because sometimes you just need a moment to recoup what's just happened, you know? Things happen, and you're just expected to go on with life, and that's difficult. It is. And sometimes life doesn't allow that when you really need it. I felt that a lot lately. Lately, I've just needed a rest, like just time to rest and recoup. But life has just not really allowed me to, and it's been hard. I've been dealing with a lot in my personal life, and it's really affected me, especially at the start of this year. My computer broke, and then I was having personal issues that were going on within my family, and it really just like knocked me down a lot. And I didn't really get any time to process any of it, or to go through what happened, or to really, you know, be like, am I okay? Sometimes you really need that, and life doesn't give it to you, and it can make things hard. But I think what's important is that if you have any support system, even like a friend that you can just hang out with that distracts you, or something that offers a distraction from if it's too much, then take the opportunity. You're not a burden. If people are true good friends, they would care about you and want you to be okay. So, and if your friends don't care, well, I urge you to find new ones. I know that's not easy as you know, I said, right? That's easier said than done. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, but there are so many people out there that will, I promise there are so many you will find people out there that will love and cherish you for who you are. You know, there are good people in this world, and obviously the negative ones are normally the most outspoken people, but there are good people in this world. I mean, I know all of you, and you guys are very sweet. I promise there are good people. Sometimes it just takes a while to find those people, or sometimes, you know, you can do the best you can in life and still get knocked down, you know. Everyone is just trying their best, I think. And for a long time, even now, I feel ashamed of myself for wanting to be loved. I feel like embarrassed about it. I feel ashamed, you know. Sometimes when I feel alone or sad and like no one cares, sometimes, you know, I'm like, I wish people cared about me. I wish people did this. And obviously I know people care about me, but it's when I'm having a bad,
I happened to find you in a really rough time in my life. I enjoy it here and enjoy listening to your rants because I can relate to a lot of what you say. I'm trying my best, but everything seems to be working against me right now.
I'm so sorry, Titan. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope at the very least it can bring you some solace knowing that a lot of people, no matter what you're experiencing in life, a lot of people have also felt the way you feel, you know, and it can feel so isolating, especially if you're like depressed or anxious, you have mental health problems, you have, you know, your brain is you are your own worst enemy, right? But and I know this is a very I know hearing this will not make things better, and I know that what I'm about to say you might even irritate you slightly, right? And that's valid, because I remember when I was at my lowest points in life, people would always say this to me and it would piss me off, because people would always say things get better, and I would hear that when I was at my lowest point, and I'd be like, how do you know that? How do you know things get better? What, you don't know what I'm going through, you know? It can feel very ignorant, but those people weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. My life is definitely not perfect, far from it. I have a lot of issues, you know, in my life. I have a lot of my own struggles, but my life is significantly better than it was, like, let's say 5 years ago, you know? So while you may be in a rut and it may be, you know, it may feel like it's lasting forever, it doesn't. Life is unpredictable in a bad and a good way. Anything can happen. Things, you never know, right? Life is unpredictable. Like, for example, for me, back before I was a VTuber, like 5 years ago, I went through something very traumatic that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And because of that, and because of the amount of stress I was under, I developed my chronic illness. So essentially, I am like disabled for life because of that. And what happened really fucked me up in my mentally and physically. And because of everything I dealt with in my life, I was out of school. My life wasn't going anywhere, you know? Beforehand, I was out of school for like a whole entire 2 years, near enough, for mental health as well. Previously, I missed out on so much. I got bad grades. Things were hard. Things were really hard. I had no direction in my life. I had nothing. You know, I had nothing to show for anything. I was so broken after everything, and I was still trying to process what had happened. And bada bim, bada boom, like I turned 18, now I'm an adult, and I don't know what the fuck to do with my life. I have no grades, no direction in my life, don't know what I want to do, nothing. I have nothing. And at that time, I was alone. I didn't really have many friends. I didn't really have many people to turn to talk to. My parents have their own problems. I have my problems. And it was hard. I would spend days bedrotting, staying in my bed. I didn't get out of bed. I didn't do anything in life. Because I thought, what's the point? I'd given up, right? I didn't want to exist. I didn't want to be around. I resorted to very unhealthy coping mechanisms to cope with things because I didn't know what to do at that point in my life. And, you know, there were points where I tried to end my life. I didn't want to exist anymore. Things were fucking miserable. Things were hard and very miserable. But I had new opportunities open to me, like VTubing. And now I have a reason to be here. I have a reason to keep going. I have people now in my life that I would like to say care about me and love me, you know? You may think no one would care if I was gone, but that's not true, I promise you. This is coming from someone who tried it. I left the house. My mom didn't know where I was. She was panicking, and then she found me outside, and the look on her face, the tears, the sadness, the way she held me, that was enough reason to say, I can't do this to my mother. I can't do that. She was so heartbroken. And you may think, again, you may think no one gonna care if I'm not here. I promise. People will notice your absence. Everyone's just dealing with their own shit. And, you know, sometimes when we need support, the people we need it from can't give it to us because they're dealing with shit, you know? But things get better. Things do get better. And again, I know me saying that doesn't do anything for you. I know me saying that might irritate you because, again, you might say, you don't know what I'm going through, but this is coming from someone who was at rock bottom. You know? I went from... I had enough. I had no direction in my life, no purpose, no nothing to show. I had nothing in my life. But now I wake up excited to stream, excited to talk to people, excited to be here. I'm grateful that I am here now. I'm happy that I'm alive, and I'm happy I have this, and I'm glad that I'm here. So I promise, I promise that you will find some semblance of happiness in your life at some point. Sometimes the happiness comes and goes, and just because things are doing better for you doesn't mean that you won't struggle some more, because, you know, life has lots of struggles in it. It's sadly not easy for a lot of us.